Dear venerable sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, as we all know, we are going to open the question and answer session, and I would like to invite Venerable Buddha Rakkhita to present the written questions to start the session.
So the first is a request. Your teachings are great. Please try to articulate your words a bit more, please. I hope this doesn't offend you by asking. To articulate your words a bit more clearly, please. I think just slow down. Okay, we'll just start with one. Okay. What is the best way to free from underlying tendencies? How long will it take? How to unstick the clinging and grasping?
For that Sabbasava Sutta, the second in the Majjhima Nikaya, it says that Janato bhikkhave passato asavana khayang vadami. Those who only see and know they can't control, because this asava works in disguise and it is working in the perverted way. As far as you have not recognized, you recognize them as relatives, beneficial, or as a gift. So whenever you see in the correct perspective, then only you can understand. You have recognized this enemy as a relative. In the Mahayana religion it says, when you are going to recognize a robber as your son, imagine the damage that can happen. So that is the samadhi or correct perspective. So till that, as far as we do not know asavas, we have no control, and not only that, in the direct way we are supporting them, we are nourishing them, we are fertilizing them, and the Buddha, knowing the very perverted nature of the asava, he says, you are the person must see, whatever I can see about your asavas, no use. So what I am doing, the gradual training is letting you to see your own way that you are, how you are feeding it, how you are fertilizing it. So this very seeing and knowing of the asava is the greatest knowledge. So therefore answer to the question is, those who know and those who see are better off.
Dear Venerable Maha Thero, during most of my recent sitting meditation sessions, I have had very little or no thoughts and very little inner chatter. In most of these sessions, almost for the whole duration, the breathing was very subtle or short. Sometimes the light stayed with me for reasonable periods of time, but was not continuous. Could you kindly clarify whether these conditions are closer to Upachara Samadhi? Could you also please explain the characteristics of Upachara Samadhi and also of full Samadhi? Thank you very much for your wonderful teachings, for very clear and simple explanations. I feel that I have done some good karma previously to come in contact with you, with metta and sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Boost up the teacher.
So that I would like to add to the question that how to understand Upachara Samadhi. May be theoretical, but sometimes it becomes good criterion. It says there are, when and where the mind is not in a discipline towards Upachara Samadhi, it is either to the desire, you get attachment, or dislike, you have the hatred. Both of them disturb your mindfulness and the concentration. Abhinatan chittan raganupaccam vikkopanupaccam. Apnatan chittan dosanupaccam vikkopanupaccam. I say liking and disliking. Or past and the future. Past, regret. Future, excitement, distract your mind. Others one is the congealed mind and perplexed mind. These are the only 6 states of mind. So you have to understand when and where it happens. And under the circumstances where you have no bunch of thoughts, you understand you are free of these 6 bad states. And whenever it happens, these are bad things. And the positive 4 points you have to understand. Your faith and the wisdom must be in the balance. Your energy and the concentration must be in balance. If you are too much of faithful, you start crying and all the kind of thing about the state that you have achieved. If you are too much of wisdom, you try to analyze too much and ultimately you disturb the situation. Too much of energy, more towards the perplexity. Too much of concentration, more towards the sleepiness. So these must be balanced. And more you go towards this equilibrium, less and less energy required. So you feel now things are happening in a effortless way. That is also you take it for the advantage. And for the 2 couples must be balanced. You know now how to come to the equilibrium with a less effort. And the third one is you understand more and more you master your skillfulness. Your ways and means are increasing. So, asevanata, you feel that now forget about anything, master it again and again. So these things develop positive qualities. When then 10 come in together, lack of 10 bad qualities and having the 4 positive qualities, this 10 indicates now mind is at the brim, or either to go to the full absorption or bad side to the Nissarana. And when and where it absorbed, that you feel like magnetized, and therefore effortlessly you can just entertain the situation, but in the upachara level still you have to maintain the balance. So this is how in the samatha way it is being explained, but in the vipassana way you can say predictably you can keep the mind with the object face to face in a credible way. Even though object is very subtle, and you know now for 5 to 10 minutes yet to come, I am sure I can keep this track. Likewise, you develop kind of a confidence. So these are the very yogi practicing immediately come to know, provided he or she is having certain theory understanding. Otherwise, situation will be mishandled, and there may be a longer time for the equilibrium to happen. So even then, if you are repeating or doing again and again, even without any theoretical background, you gain certain amount of mastery. But as far as we have this theoretical understanding, you have to give more and more backing or conditions or facilitating.
Dear Bhante, sometimes we see lights in our meditation. At times they flicker like tube lights, neon lights, and they get brighter. Sometimes the brightness gets reduced when our mind is wandering. I hear that these lights are the reflection of the mind. Is it true? If it's true, why only some people can see these? Please explain.
The same thing we can put it this way. As far as the mind is mixed up with Nissaranas, it is darker. When and where Nissaranas are going off, the natural brightness of the mind can happen. So therefore, it depends how much the Nissaranas, sometimes they are thinning off, becoming diluted, and slowly they are multicolored, lively light appears. And when you keep on practicing, this multicolored slowly go into the whitish color, and the lively nature disappeared, like a dead wall, like it comes. And still when it is continuing, they come together like a moon or like a plate, and when it becomes very developed or advanced, you see through like seeing through a glass or something like that, or sometimes it is like a morning star. The brightness you find in the morning star, it's something like that, fluorescent light. That is how it explains. And whatever it may be, the very perception, the sanya, which you carry to the sitting meditation at the beginning, decides the pattern. Whenever you go to the sitting meditation, if you do it after walking meditation and good mobilized energy kind of thing, different issue. But if you are going to the sitting with the mixed up mind and all the kind of thing, that day the color combination and the development will be different. So therefore these things are, even though it is explained in a very systematic way or linear system in the Visuddhimagga and its own commentaries, they are very volatile. Number of factors, variable factors are much. So this is the way it is being theoretically explained. So whatever it may be, if you are going to pay more attention to the evolution or metamorphosis of the light, there's a danger that you lose the contact with the primary object. So therefore, know about that, see their improvements, but don't lose the view with the primary object. So therefore it is little tricky when the light going to happen. So after so much of trial and error only, you will understand, let the light to develop or evolve, but you try your best to keep the causative factors or proximate causes intact. That must be your responsibility.
Excuse me. Does these lights appear when you are doing vipassana meditation as well?
Yeah, that is what I am telling, that even though you are going to put into the different cages, this is samatha and this is vipassana, in practical sense, this is just merely complicating your situation. Just take it as a samatha. Samadhi. Samadhi can be samatha samadhi or vipassana samadhi, and it needs so much of skill to understand whether it is samatha samadhi or vipassana, and even then it has very little practical implication. So samadhi is a must. Whether it is coming to the samatha way or vipassana way, doesn't matter. I feel very sorry. Whenever these two terms come into the discussion, I know discussion is misled. Forget about and believe Achancha. He is the only person never talk about samatha and vipassana. He says, keep mindful. Be aware of all the states. Otherwise, you become more and more in the theoretical side, or the deductive side, and you become judgmental about what is happening. That is a hindrance or impediment.
Dear Bhante, I raised a question yesterday evening explaining that I was getting a chest pain while meditating. By following the advice given, it was reduced by 80 to 90% and I could proceed without a problem. While meditating, I saw tiny breaks in my breathing which I couldn't identify whether it was an in-breath or an out-breath. These were smooth, cooler, and easily slipped from my nostrils. In my thoughts, when I compared this to my normal breath, I felt the normal breath is more rough and warm. The meditation was going smooth, but after some time, the frequency of small breaths became less and the gap between them became larger. I got the chest pain again, and this time more severe, with a pukey feeling that was hard to breathe. It looks like whenever I experience something new, I'm getting the chest pain. Please clarify whether my observations and understandings are correct or not, and any advice to proceed.
He's glad to hear that the striving is going on and going to the more and more subtle stages. So example that I cited on the other time, that when you are climbing a mountain, at the each 1,000 feet level, you have to acclimatize yourself and be ready for a thin oxygen. And mind, the body has the capacity. But if you are rushing, the fainting can happen. So therefore, slowly you have to come back and go again, come back and go again. So when it is happening, just like you are doing yoga exercises, you can go to any posture, but not by overnight. Do it again and again, ultimately body adjusts. And when you go at the peak, do little breathing, and then the mind, the body feel at the end of the yoga exercises how much you can do little further tightening. And again you relax. Next day also you go. Something like it's Anupubba Sikka, Anupubba Kiriya, Anupubba Patipada. Don't try to rush. And chest pain is because it appears to be due to the kind of unconscious force breathing. So then the contradiction happens. So it says in a traditional way, if you wish to learn weightlifting, take a calf, a small cow, and daily raise it. The calf is daily putting up weight, and you are day by day, you are learning the weightlifting. Ultimately, when it is come up to the cow's level or bull's level, still you can raise it. You don't know each day how much you are putting up and how the calf is putting up. So this is the way it must be. So that is what I am telling. Don't try to be smart. Don't try to accelerate. Understand we are doing a profound job. And make sure we are day by day progressing. That is to say, day by day we are striving. But moment you are going to accelerate, that kind of arrogance or smartness going to happen, you will be punished. That is to indicate you do not know the synchronization. So this it's a mere matter. But anyway, they are progressing. So therefore, be patient with your body, and the gradual development is the most healthy way.
Dear Bhante, yesterday during the sitting meditation I felt that I went into a deep state, and following a burst of light coming through a tunnel, and came to a stage with a white background and green smoke floating. It was so fascinating, and I did not want to come out of it. I enjoyed and stayed there. Once I came out of meditation, I had a slight headache, and after a while I felt that my body was hot. For the rest of the afternoon, I felt like I felt cooled. I felt like that hot and only cooled during the night. During today's meditation, when I closed my eyes, I didn't feel or see any of yesterday's floaty, cloudy, smoky clouds, but instead sweets and desserts. Sweets and desserts. Dessert. Yeah, like for lunch. Yeah. I normally don't like or enjoy sweets. Why do they appear? Please explain. I avoided deep meditation today as I have still got the headache.
So that is also something related to the last question. When these things happening, that how much time the mind and body take to acclimatize into this situation. One day when I was in Panditharama, I gave a report like this, and I explained shadow that I see like a car light is coming directly in front of me, and sometimes I find the scattered light, and I expected some kind of a good response from the shadow, and I was waiting till the translator is translating. He asked me to tell him that he has bogged down. That means he has go more attracted to the light, and you lost the mindfulness. So these are the tricks it happens. So Buddha says, when you are practicing, sometimes mind get bogged down inside or scatter outside. You must know how to maintain the balance, just like a tightrope walking, not to get into the positive qualities of the meditation and say you get obsessed with. And talking about the light, you don't remember the mindfulness. You don't remember the primary object. And ultimately you taken so much of attracted to that. And other thing is next day you expect it. And opposite of it is daydreaming, fantasizing, wandering mind. And there also you lose. But whenever these two happens, that indicates both the sides are there. It's a matter of balancing. And therefore, that indicates you have the potential. At a time it goes to this extreme, at a time it goes to that extreme. So you have to have the balance. This is basically related with result-oriented nature. So patience is the way to get the balanced taste. So the sweet and this thing is very difficult to relate into this experience. And the other one is by single this event, very difficult to interpret or analyze. So if it is something repetitively happening, then only it is worth analyzing and have enough information. So therefore, take this as a sign or a good omen telling that you have the potential, but immaturity or lack of skillfulness is handling. But only one method is available. Apply again and again, and ultimately you develop the mastery slowly.
According to my experience, when I practice samatha meditation, it goes smooth and I hardly get any issues. In practicing vipassana, I face a lot of issues, pains, doubts, and the worst is the feeling of giving up. When I go home and try to practice vipassana and I face any issues, there is no one to get advice from until your next retreat next year. Are there any books, articles, discussions or websites in either English or Sinhalese that you can recommend which focus on the common problems that yogis face and how to overcome them? Thank you.
The problem is that recognition, samatha and vipassana. I sincerely wish to know what does it mean by I am practicing samatha and I am practicing vipassana. If that is available in the question, then I can handle it. Otherwise, just mere telling that I am doing samatha and vipassana is rather very cross words, very obscure. I don't understand it. So if that before going into the deep, if that particular person can explain what does it mean by that I practice samatha, what does it mean by I practice vipassana, that will give the additional background for this issue. And if it is answer is not coming, please read the Power of Mindfulness. It says, don't worry about the samatha and vipassana, be mindful. And that will lead everything. So otherwise, if you are going to say samatha way and vipassana way, I think you are immature, and I am not denying it. It's immature. It is too early to put into that, and try to be mindful whatever the state of mind, and then you develop the skills slowly.
Dear Bhante, when meditating I get good concentration and then I fall into a deep sleep. I don't get an opportunity to apply any of the antidotes you mentioned. How can I get over this? Thank you.
For that, the path leading to the sleepiness is given, and I need how you get up. And once you got up, what is the situation? Does the mind naturally go to the primary object or meditative mode, or you keep on going wandering or keep on sleeping? So that coming back is the way. It gives a lot of signs, a lot of clues. So, but this question written, the going out is bad, but they fail to understand going out means that it is naturally coming back. Not given any information because there are no light shed fallen into that. So that is very interesting part. Whenever the mind go out, naturally come back, otherwise that particular person is still in sleep. But I hope I hit the question right after getting up. So I have my own rights to ask, how did you got up? And what happened? Where was the mind? Where it goes? So that is interesting. So we are only giving only 50% of the evidence. So we can't proceed in the court without cross-questioning.
Dear Venerable, we live in a world of the five senses and experience like and dislike. How to be mindful without getting caught? You mentioned different types of mindfulness. Is there a more advanced form than present moment awareness, such as trying to observe cause and effect? Do we try to get wisdom out of what we observe, watch with kindness, or just watch silently in the moment?
So there is the Maha, that is the great wisdom, and Maha Karuna is the great compassion. So these are the two qualities the Buddha balanced, and so therefore both are necessary. At a time you can use the analytical mind and understand how quickly your senses are taken for a ride by dominating one or the other objects and hindering others. Or otherwise you can be sympathetic upon yourself or about the other people. So both of them are necessary. So if you keep both open, the very mere understanding, very mere definition of mindfulness will be advancing by each and every encounter. Don't try to go for the high potential mindfulness. The mindfulness that you have applied is still enough. It is catching. More and more you develop, it develops its own skillfulness. And that means you develop appropriate technology. Technology appropriate to your background, your questions. So therefore, once the mindfulness introduced, don't try to accelerate it. Then what will happen is that the system is not much geared into that, so therefore end up with frustration. Be aware. Earlier I was not mindful. I was not aware of the meaning of mindfulness, and I do not know how to put into practice. Now it is dead sure. Now I know a little bit of the meaning of it. I know a little bit how to put into practice. Now mind is ready to go advancing. That is why it is asking advanced method, that very forward-looking nature also necessary, but don't accelerate. And slowly it is therefore, and one of the Westerners mentioned, the gaining the ground, gaining the momentum is painfully slow. It is painfully slow. It is a characteristic. So therefore, be patient. Don't break the trend. Don't distract anything. Just let it, learn it. And that is the way any skill, any language or kind of thing, when it is happening, it goes by its own pace. So by the explanation, it says it is catching. So believe it and go slow.
Dear Bhante, we learned that some thoughts should be restrained without letting them turn into words or actions. Other thoughts we should let pass through without interfering. How do we know which ones to let pass through? Thank you.
I have my fair doubts. Do we have a choice? Of course we can see some of the things. Some words are all of jumping, or some works are already happening, and sometimes we can feel, now I am going to talk this word and it will hurt other people life. So at the beginning, no choice. If there is a choice, both of them must be restrained. It won't give a choice, but now we know the mechanism. It's happening. sometimes it is so in a momentum, propellants, after happening only you come to know. Some things are, you can see the gradual development. So please check whether do we have any choice. If it is so, we can apply controlling, monitoring, steering. Otherwise, now we know it has some of them are happening in a very quick and electric way. Some of them are happening in a gradual process or sequential way. Both must be under control.
Dear Bhante, is contemplating and using thought to change underlying beliefs useful? How to change one's underlying views and beliefs and tendencies?
So they are very difficult, and not only that, the mere recognition, this as one of my underlying tendencies or disposition, difficult. So the best way is do away with the transgressional kind of defilements, do away with the obsessional kind of defilements, they are fairly gross, and then wait, just see, and they come, the manifestation can happen. So you have to observe as if a second person or a person from outside, the critical observation, and even then non-judgmental. Let them happen again and again, and then only after long observation you can see how they happen. So therefore, really recognizing or understanding that very underlying tendencies are very difficult. For example, if there are an epidemic disease in the country, the people keep on reporting to the hospitals, and what the medical people are going to do is treating only the symptoms as far as they have not diagnosed the proper root cause. And what they do is they announce there's an epidemic disease. Don't wait till it becomes aggravated. Please report to the close by places when and where the new symptoms happen. So now they are going to receive your patients with developing symptoms, and then medical research people observe early symptoms and get cultured and culture them, and ultimately when they are culturing, they find number of germs. Now it's a matter of understanding what is the root cause. So what they do is, there's a called Koch's postulation. You take all the cultures and infest to the new tissues and see which one going to give the secondary symptoms, which one going to give the primary symptoms. Because whenever the first attack happens, when the germ attack, our immunity system goes down. Then all the other bacteria come and take the advantage of that. So person is with multiple causes, but still scientists, they know there's a root cause, and that is the cause for this epidemic. So what they do is they reinfest 3 times, and then only one can say this is the root cause or basic bacteria or germ. This is a secondary one, and this is attributable to the primary symptoms. These are attributable to the secondary symptoms, and that is it happens. So therefore, unless otherwise, first you treat symptoms and go for the early symptoms and diagnose the different bacteria or germs, then only it happens. So no one can directly guess and see this is the root cause as far as it's a new epidemic. So that is exactly way the Buddha also using. Do away with the gross part, do away with the medium part, and then only you can see, you can earmark the root cause, and very understanding is the most important. Then prescribing a drug is very easy, because it is in the doctor's handbook. It says if this is the disease, this is the medicine. Only the problem is, only the importance is the diagnosis. Yeah. Yeah, that means that sometimes you may recognize obsessional defilements also as underlying tendencies. So you have to discriminate and see these are the transgressional kind that is more towards the ethics and the social norms, and these are the defilements towards the obsessional kind. And obsessional kind others can't see, you can see. The underlying tendencies others can't see, you can't see, unless otherwise you familiarize and you are thorough about the theory. So therefore, let them manifest, because it has happened so far, 1,000 and 1,000 years in you. No harm, that don't rush now, because you are in a very subtle area. Before be judgmental, before rushing into that, you must have patience to let it come and destroy you. Let it come and disturb you and observe. Unless otherwise, you will be rushing to a quick decision. It says the catching or understanding of these tendencies or defilement, you must not be a police person, you must be a criminal investigation department person. You go to the scene in a civil suit and observe what is happening, but you have no executive powers to catch the fellow. You have to repeatedly see, and then only you have to report to the police, that person is coming on that time and he is suspicious. You go and see yourself. Likewise, the yogi is working not like a police constable, but as a spy or criminal investigation department person. Observation. So he must not rush and catch the fellow.
And just the second part, that was my question. And the second part, do you recommend substituting with a different kind of thinking? This is actually cognitive behavioral therapy. I've been studying a little bit of
The contemplation.
Yeah, they recommend substituting a different kind of thinking, but I intuitively feel that wouldn't work. So I was wondering what your view is on that.
So this is the kind of a thing that Mahasi Sayadaw came out with noting. So, but you must not, how do I say, you must do not on a conceptual basis, it must be true to type. I will put it this way. When the breath becomes very subtle, sometimes you feel fearfulness, sometimes you feel drowsy, sometimes you feel boredom, sometimes you feel monotonous. And whenever it happens, you let it manifest, and not according to your common language, the particular shade of that state. Don't do guesswork. If it is guesswork happening, noting technique is not happening. So what you are contemplating must be directly touched. Directly go to the target. If it is so, contemplation is almost parallel to the noting. Then you are sharp. But the thing is, these tendencies, underlying tendencies and the state that I explained, they are changing their facets. So there you have to be very simple and straightforward, not in the common sense. Don't go for the technical terms. If you have fear, monotony, boredom, uncertainty, not accordingly. There the contemplation is directly working. But if you are noting the boredom as fearfulness, then it won't work.
Well, I think that you have to, at that point, it's oftentimes it's really subtle stuff. I mean, I see this professional. You get a bounce out reaction. People don't stick around long enough because they don't have faith. They can handle the uncomfortable feeling of feeling the disintegration that you feel about. And they just have an automatic default bounce out reaction before they even get to the place of feeling really lousy and seeing those underlying tendencies. So, what is the place of summoning up karuna, compassion, at that very point where you are going to disintegrate?
So we can put it this way. If you are rushing to contemplate or if you are rushing to note, that means it's a reaction, not an action. A reaction is punishable. So you have to understand, when something happens, don't react, don't be judgmental, observe again and again. That means you must have the patience or equanimity. Okay, now the fellow is in my range. Don't rush and catch the fellow. Just let it play. Just let it happen. That is how to say, it's a kind of a sacrification, it's a kind of a radical way of handling. That is why you have to set a thief to catch a thief. You must also be a thief. Otherwise, it is very tricky. It is changing the facets quickly. So what happens is that if you are with a preconceived idea or we are obsessed with that, soon it happens, we jump it. And a very good example is there, but I don't know, it is Sinhalese has to help me. In Sri Lanka it says that if the burglar coming and suppose they think the house owners are asleep, so they start digging from the one corner. And then to check whether householders are awake or not, they put put a black kind of a pot through the hole, just like a head, and wait to see what is the. If the householder is awake, he will hit the pot, hit the head, but ultimately he is hitting the pot. So robber has enough time to jump. So you put it there and take it back, and if there is no action, only they put the head down. But if you are skillful, they say, don't hit the pot, wait till the head comes and if you chop it. Head is inside, others will run. So there, if you are jumping to hit the pot, you miss the bus. So therefore, that is why that you have to develop your own techniques. That is the patient leads to Nibbana. That is very common phrase in the Burma. And they say that if you are more theoretically and obsessed with and preconceived ideas and kind of thing, you jump, you react. And all the kilesas, they know how to capitalize that weakness, because the underlying tendencies, specifically this boredom and kind of thing, they are coming in the hate base. Any hatred you have in terms of a reaction, they take it as a fertilizer. They take it as a nutriment. So you have to be patient, because so far it has been coming and assaulting you and humiliating you. You don't know. Now you know. Therefore, unless you do know, you have the patience, your very knowledge will create another tension, another frustration, another reaction. So, of course, you are better off, but it takes long time for this to season. So, this kind of discussions are very important. For we have to throw away and see, because we are all in the same boat. So, by practicing again and again, more and more patience, more the situation under control. If you are reacting, Krishnamurti is the best person, he told, all the actions are beautiful, but all reactions are dirty. But we are nothing but reaction. From morning to evening, we are just mere reaction. So we are already programmed puppets or robots. Even the mindfulness can see how much we are puppets, how much we are robots, and the involuntary or voluntary activities. It is something like our whole life is already prepared DVD. When it is running, you have no option to edit it. Because everything programmed and it is now running. Unless otherwise you are mindful. Only while mindful only you can see a little bit of plasticity is there. So we can put that simply as a patience.
Dear Bhante, several years ago I attended an intensive meditation retreat. At that retreat I had a very moving experience. At the end of a long meditation, I slowly opened my eyes to find my body and everything around me dissolving, as if I could see that everything was made of incredibly small particles of energy that were dissolving and reappearing or reforming into what I saw around me. At the time, it completely blew me away. I was new to meditation, but over time I came to understand that experience has changed me quite a lot. it got me on the path. From that time, I have lost most interest in the world, and I am now on the path to becoming a monastic. I understand it is foolish to try and hold on to such experiences, but the memory of that still comes back to me after all these years. I know it wasn't jhana. I know that now. However, I can't help but ask myself from time to time, what the hell was that? So Bhante, what the hell was that? And also, how can we best work with and let go of deep experiences that we may have in meditation so that we do not fall into preoccupation with them?
I don't think this as a preoccupation. The change, the benevolent change, it has already done. Now the life is in a good process, on a good trend. So therefore don't try to forget it about. It came in the proper time and gave the insight. Now you are working on that insight. You can't get it off. Once you come in to know any correct thing, you can't forget. Never. So therefore, then onward, you are working on that line. If you wish to get it back, that is also not under your control. If you're going to get it off, that is also not under control. Only thing you have to do, now we are one step ahead. Under that circumstance only, now my rational mind is working. Keep on progressing. Whenever again the alignment happens, again it will happen. That means your potential is there. And it has not done a permanent change, but it has done a significant change. And that is why repetitively apply mindfulness and come to the retreat going on. So don't take it as something to be worried or something to be questioned or something to be think about. The purpose, the benevolent purpose already happened. You're already on the beneficial side. Keep on practicing and you will find more and more or less and less frictional or more and more towards the comfort zone. So you are on the way. It is not a hell.
Can I just repeat it again? How do certain experiences bring about changes in our five khandhas or in our karma, and how do other experiences not bring about significant changes? Is that right?
Yes. For example, some insights they lead the khandha process towards extinction, whereas sometimes an insight or an experience is just that.
Okay. So what are the significant or insignificant experiences in meditation?
In the neuroscience, this is our mind is working in a particular one rut. So whether efficient or not, beneficial or not, we are in a rut. Accidentally, that sometimes you understand this rut. The path that is working is very crooked. Sometimes you get the shortcuts. It appears like a mishap. And then you have a chance, am I going to lose or make use that shortcut again, or may I go back to my old pattern and old rut? So that means even the shortcut happen, it is something something accidental. And again the rational mind happy to go in the same rut. The way one joke is, there's one person, he is almost 60 years old and he is having some kind of a ailment and fast becoming old. That is called senility. So the doctor asked him to walk around the field in the playground daily, which is in front of his house. So he is walking to the other end and coming, it is an oval-shaped one. Later he found, he feels so tired when you go to the other end, so he used to come back on the same line telling, I am too old, instead of coming from the other side. Whether he is coming from the other side or this side, exactly the distance the same. So he is mentally thinking, I am sick, so he go to the other end and come back telling, I only can half walk. So this is the way our rational mind. So therefore, each and every time these sparks happen, that is called natural selection, or they call blinks. There's a very nice book known as The Blink. I can't remember the author. He says, many apples would have fallen into foolish head, except the Isaac Newton. No one picked the idea about the gravitational forces. It's a natural selection. He knew amidst of all the things, this is something special. So from morning to evening, so much of openings happens. But our rational traditional thinking, our rut, our liking and disliking, our personality traits, pulling everything back to the same old track. So therefore you have to have, faith is a very good opening. Out of faith, you can try. Or out of radical reflection, you can try. So when you are running that kind of a new shortcut, you are running at your cost. You can't ask others to whether I run this way or that. And it depends on your karmic causes. Sometimes you hit the correct target. So likewise, each and every time, there are some neuronal sparks happening. And it says when the people become old age, the neurons, their growth stops. And therefore, they become very traditional, they become very conservative. But if you are doing meditation, what happens is, not the neuronal threads are growing, but the shortcuts are happening. Immediately that particular person select that, it is called neurobic. Neurobic means new by roots. So if you wish to keep the brain alive, it says, do radical things. For example, when you are doing walking meditation, do backward. So no sleepiness can happen because you don't know upon what you are going to step. Or do walking meditation on a wall. And it says, go to the room without switching off the light and see whether you can, without hitting the furniture, can you go to the bed? Or can you open the door and pierce the key into the keyhole without the help of a torch? So this is the way we really make use of our neurons. Last time when you go to Canada, and there's a few minutes, I wanted to go out and I went with Sunil. And it is high time for the lunch. And we lost. Now we are in a tension, no telephone, nothing. The person is waiting there till we comes. And we see all the signs, and then Sunil told, now neurobics are working. This is the only time it is working. Others, we are so traditional. It's a mishap. But now brain has to find new methods, new ways. It is not a mishap. So this is how it happens. So therefore it is a kind of a childish game. Feel like childish. But whenever something goes wrong, don't worry much about the traditional answers. Let the mind to play 1,001 ways. So therefore the blinks are happening, but we fail to pick them. Because we are so traditional. We are so run in a rut. So if you keep this freshness of the mind, mindfulness is a real invitation. Always you think new. Everything is green. Everything is new. Because you have no preconceived ideas. I mean theoretically. And therefore don't expect the blinks to happen. Because blinks are a gift. Always happening, but you must be ready to make use of them.
Dear Bhante, thank you very much for your profound teachings. I particularly like your encouragement to not differentiate between vipassana and samatha. This has been my experience in meditation, but up to now I have been unable to verify it with any authority, apart from my own humble experience. As I was watching the breathing phenomena dissolve into being today, it occurred to me that this may be what the teacher Thich Nhat Hanh may be referring to when he encourages students to breathe, you are alive. Could you please share your understanding of the similarities and differences between the practices of Mahayana and Theravada?
Because I have no much of acquaintance with the Mahayana and Theravada, but the sectarianism, discrimination, it is a cancer. It is the way we have developed this world, just an ugly place. If you are ready to accept the wholeness, everything, or the totality, then we can easily understand the other people and everything. But we have been so trained and so-called educated to be so selective, so discriminative, so in the sectarianism, so much of tension. So as far as the vipassana and samatha is concerned, consider the mother as samatha and the father as vipassana. If you are going for samatha, you become a single parent child. If you are going all for the vipassana, also the same. So why not have both? In Sinhala it says, Amma hondai kiwuwat waradi, Tatta hondai kiwuwat waradi, enisa nangiya malliya pawasami dennama hondaya kiya. I mean, it is not against the ethics. So both of them are very cooperative, very beneficial, very for your well-being. Don't try to put into this and that. Be with both the parents, mother and the father. And some the Mahayana tradition, the best thing or the missing link in our Theravada and the specialized thing in the Mahayana is papancha. Papancha is mental proliferation. They have so clear definition for the proliferation. This is as far as we are brooding upon our liking and disliking and kind of thing, we are far away from Nibbana. As far as you are not proliferating, you are ready to the next moment, as and when it happens. Even though it appears like a childish, you are a person living. So very well explained in the Chanki Sutta, and Venerable Katakurunja Jnananda taken that particular sutta, he told through Prapanchakarana or through this mental proliferation, how a concept can be a reality. So we project conceptually, and ultimately due to so much of brooding, acquaintance, ultimately it becomes a reality for me. So I expect other people also must accept it as a reality. But other people are proliferating in a different way, so we are living in our own world. So therefore, in that sense, the Mahayana tradition, they have a lot of lights shed upon this Prapanchakarana, mental proliferation. So, but anyway, that you can't get any clue, any hint from others, other experiences. You have to develop appropriate technology through your kind of proliferation, or you have to develop the ways and means according to your question. So therefore, listening to your inner voice, be ready for the next moment without preconceived ideas. Difficult thing, of course, but theoretically you have to accept it. Try at least 1 minute per day or few minutes per day. Just let the things happen and just be observed. Ultimately you find at least during that few minutes no tension, no neurosis, no mental frustration. So it is then and there results.
Dear Bhante, I am an older person who has been practicing meditation for many years. As a result, I am able to feel more at peace and contentment during this phase of my life, with of course leaving room for improvement. I also have, on a regular basis, the feeling of wanting to go home, back to wherever I have come from, hopefully not with the angry ghosts, and I mean in the celestial realms. Is this a natural feeling, or is my mind tricking me? I am not depressed or suicidal. Thanks.
So, wherever you may be, you are on the way back to home. Nothing to worry. It is not bounded with the space and time. That rational mind is going to say this place and this then. Buddha says, even though your weak mind is going to say household is bad and the monastery is good, I know the jokes happening in the monastery life. More than any person, I am very elderly. It is an asylum. Bad place. And my best happened when I was a young lay person. Due to this efficiency only, that I don't care what is happening in the monastic life. Only thing is that I have to depend on the food. I'm a beggar. So you get the free food in the monastery, that's it. What else? When you shave your head, you become a new person? No. By wearing this saffron robe, will you become a new person? No. It is just bodily. So, wherever you are born, that is the best place. You have to learn appropriate technology. Small is beautiful. And Schumacher is economic theory, and that is exactly thing. So, come back home as much as possible. Of course, we come to a place like this, like a laboratory, give the conducive facilities and try. And if it is not applicable to your back at home, I think it is not correct. So therefore, you must be ready for both as and when you advance. So therefore, your home, your place, nothing wrong. So go back home, come again, and while practicing, the hardening happens, the seasoning happens.
Dear Venerable Sir, Manopubha Gamma Dhamma Mano Setta Mano Maya seems to have a very deep meaning. Accordingly, most of what we see are mind-made but not real. On the day we have the ability to see is, I think it says is, there seems to be nothing to see, sunyata. Is my understanding correct?
So if you read the Dvaitanupassana Sutta, in the Sutta Nipata, there the Buddha explained, when Putujjana are going to say something existing, for the Aryans it is nothing, it is sunyata. When the Arya Pukkala is going to say there is a Nibbana, Putujjana says, where the hell, what color, what place, what is Nibbana? They can't see it. This is the world. This is Tupsi Turvidam. So it is within one life, you can go to this sect for the shifting of the paradigm to the others. When you do both, things become very profound. If you know only one side, then you find it's very difficult, very hard, and all the kind of things. So therefore, you have to be amphibian on the both, and then only you will see the special qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and therefore your experience is very important. So don't try to train your eye by not looking. Let the mind to come out with stories. Let the eye to come out with fabrications. And you have to understand, the Buddha says, the seeing is naturally stopping at that level. Mental proliferation, storytelling, fabrication is the one is carry on. So much so, fabrication and as a storytelling, you are not seeing, you are not hearing, smelling, touching, but mental proliferation. You have taken for a ride. And ultimately you feel ashamed, but can't help. You try to believe it, but you see. So therefore each and everyone is a great creators. They are creating the whole world and ultimately attributed wrong thing to the so-called omnipotent, omnipresent God, but you are the creator of your own God. And the Buddha says, creator is nothing but ignorance. Nothing but the bewilderment. Nothing but the darkness. So let it create again and again, question it. Have an inquiring mind. Try to be on board. As and when the creation happens, if we can catch it, easier to understand. Otherwise it is so quickly galvanized, so quickly hardened, nothing you can other than believing. So accelerating and try to see as and when it happens. So therefore you will feel happy because you are the creator of your own world. But if you read the commentarial exegesis for the Manobubbangama Dhamma Manosetta, the whole spirit gone. They are given such a square kind of a interpretation because that it has been interpreted not by a person who has meditated. So they can do only the grammatical, linguistic interpretation. But when you go there to see the flux, to see the quick arising and passing away, then only you can see the direct meaning what the Buddha going to give. But even then you find very difficult to communicate with others because many think the world is created by the God, it is an intelligent design. We are poor creatures. So what to do? We will wait till the Creator is giving something. Oh, it's a wrath of the God or something like that. You attribute and mind your own business to go for sensuous pleasure. But if you try to see it, you find that you can't cheat yourself just by mere sensuous pleasure. And this understanding as and when it happens, it is more thrilling, it is more aesthetic, it is more living. So for that, Anubhubba Sikha, Anubhubba Kiriya, Anubhubba Patipada is necessary.
Dear Venerable Sir, what are the qualities of access concentration and how do we take it further?
I think we answered that question. Okay.
Did I read it out twice?
No. Maybe they're repeating the question.
Okay, yeah, I think so, okay. Alright, okay. We can ask another one. Dear Bhante, can perseverance alone make one become a stream winner?
Without understanding, perseverance leads to adamantation and you will lead to, very difficult person. So only not the perseverance. It says that perseverance is something like blind, can't see. So it has to go with the eye. Otherwise, you may be going hard and you don't know which direction. So therefore, it has to balance with the both. Perseverance needs when the perseverance is necessary. So you have to understand what is necessary, and perseverance is one of the variables, but you can't attribute everything to the perseverance.
This is a short one. The previous question is not mine, but the access concentration and upachara samadhi, are they sort of similar?
Yeah, there is the English and single terms.
Yes. That was the question, isn't it? That would be easy.
Okay, so next question. Dear Venerable Sir, why do insight teachers avoid teaching and talking about jhanas and even discourage it? Doesn't this go against the suttas? Thank you.
If you read all the suttas, more than 95% of the suttas are talking about the Sila, Samadhi, Panya. And Samadhi is naturally translated as jhanic experiences. You can't do away with that. But there are some certain extent, without talking about the jhana, it says Sila and Panya are the most important thing. Jhana is just like a semi-permanent structure that you put when you are putting a high-rise building. You can't put a high-rise building unless otherwise you have the semi-permanent structure, scaffolding. But after finishing, you have to remove the scaffolding. So you have to understand, if you are doing a single-story building, you may do away with kind of thing. So this is a truth. I am not going to deny it, because that is the way our mind is sectarian. Whenever you are stressing something, that means you are hinting someone. You are reacting to someone. So when I am observing any philosophy, any person, if he or that philosophy is a reaction, I have any sympathy, I can't be with that. Any mistake I can sympathize as action. But the reaction is, I think it's a mental disease. So therefore, people may be discriminating. You have to understand, according to your personality trait, according to the background, according to the starting point, do the needful, do the appropriate, without reacting about other misunderstanding or your preconceived ideas. It is a task.
Dear Bhante, what is the cause of clinging and how to stop? Cause of clinging and how to stop.
There is a lack of understanding on the flaws. If you know the flaws, you never cling. As far as you don't see the flaws, you assume it is perfect and then you cling. So that is why more and more association time, you are bound to see the flaws, the mistakes, the disadvantages. More and more you see disadvantages, you regret about your selection, you regret about your thinking. So that is why Buddha says, repetitive before clinging, before understanding this philosophy, see the flaws, see the weaknesses, see the disadvantages of the thing that you are going to cling.
Dear Bhante, can you please explain to what level a yogi should develop the mind to see all the 31 planes of existence? Thank you.
So that this seeing all the 32 planes, it is not a must. It's a kind of model the Buddha presented. And when I was in Burma, there was a nun, German nun, and she was so keen about this cosmology and this kind of thing. And unlucky enough, I was so engaged in the master plan on the forest. And while we are discussing, also she come and asked, Bhante, please help me and do it. So one day she came and wrote to me when I was in Sri Lanka and said, do you have any book, any kind of thing about explaining this lens and time and kind of thing on the 32 planes? Then I told you may read some of the books written by K.N. Jaitilaka. It is in the library, in the Buddhist Publication Society, but I told that I am not interested in this side. This is, I am so unfortunate. The person who knows kind of thing, he is not disinterested. The place I am living in, Burma, information is not available. So I am so desperate like. So I told her, to be here and now, it's a far away issue. If you are going to measure and kind of thing, you are rather developing the conceit. So, of course, I am not going to deny, because when you read the suttas, you have it. But be mindful, here now I am. Then this thing will be revealed with first-hand experience. Otherwise, you can read the books. I can assure one thing, all the people writing about them never had any experience. They are writing, repeating one book after the other, referring that reference and this reference, and therefore, whenever it is necessary, whenever it is relevant to your life, it will come. Otherwise, you have to understand, being here and you are thinking, if you are thinking about the 32 planes, that means you are not in the present moment, you are eccentric, and whatever you are going to think is a deductive, never first hand. So, develop the present here, now, establish it, then you can see deductively what is happening. Definitely is a deductive. Never you can perceive it.
Dear Bhante, can you please talk more about clinging and the underlying kilesa?
Clinging. So, underlying defilements or tendencies also clinging. Because whenever the Buddha explained the single cause for the samsaric journey is clinging, tanha. Due to the avijja, tanha is the proximate cause, avijja is the faraway cause. So this tanha creates transgressional defilements, obsessional defilements, as well as these underlying tendencies. The transgressional thing, ethically one can judge, good or bad. Obsessional, ethically you may be safe. But your mind, your heart knows good or bad, but others can't do. But the underlying tendency is, unless otherwise you train yourself, you also misunderstand. But they are the three shades of the same craving. So therefore start what is the gross, what is prominent, and when you keep on practicing, you are bound to see how they become subtle, and how they become perverted, how they become cheating, how they become misleading you, and then ultimately you see the understanding that very perverted nature, understanding of that very cheating nature, understanding of that very misleading nature is what you call wisdom. That means your wisdom is understanding how much you are foolish. There is no other crystallized knowledge as such. That is why in the Chullavedala Sutta it says, it's a counterpart of the wisdom is the ignorance. If you know I am so much ignorant, that is the highest wisdom you need. So therefore, be acquainted, and you see, whenever it is in the perverted way, your misunderstanding is enough for you to run in the wrong line. That very correct perspective is enough to cut short and take the attention at home situation.
Dear Bhante, thank you so much for your teachings. Is it possible to tame our mind 100%? And if so, how long will that take?
As far as we are concerned, when you are writing, you have to say, how can I train my mind? How can I train our mind? As far as this is there, you are not trained. You are not pure. That very recognition. The moment you feel, I am me and we is no more, that is the moment you can see kind of a clarity, kind of a purification happen. So therefore you can't possess a pure mind. Only you can possess defiled mind, corrupted mind, mind in the rut. That you can claim mind. But when the mind purified, the I notion, the self-centeredness, ego and conceit disappearing. So that is why it says you can't throw a party once you become enlightened. With the very person who is throwing the party also finished. So one person asks, is that a spiritual committing suicide? Enlightenment is your ego finished, suicidal. So therefore it is easy to understand. That is why majority do not wish to see the truth. They are very happy with the sensuous pleasure and fighting and all the sectarianism. So when and where they are, the very peg, the reference point, the benchmark disappeared. So then you can't write a sentence. Please try with that understanding the question, then very easy to answer.
Dear Venerable Sir, forgive me if I am troubling you, but could you please elaborate on Kaye Kai Anu Pasi Viharati? What is meant by body in body? This part is explained in different ways and I would like it to be clarified. Thank you.
As far as this very body is concerned, we can see how many perspectives we have people. Some people use it as a beautification. Some people use it as a lever machine. Some people use it as different ways. Each and every such a use is leading to fame, gain and all the kind of worldly things. Using the body as an agglomeration, it's as a putting together, is the meaning of Kaya Kayanupassi Virati. Kaya is the meaning of agglomeration. Kanda, in Sri Lanka we call Kanda mountain, it is coming from Skanda. Skanda means it's a putting together. Things put together just like a beast, when it put together it's like a hive. But there's no ideal high when the bees are flying. High you disappeared. But we never see our body in that respect. We always see it's a male body, it's a human body, it's a female body, it's a young body, it's an old body. These are the attributions and labels and all the signals we attribute. Soon you put that such a signal, your mind becomes blind. You can't see the body as body. For example, when the heat arises in your body, if you are going to say my left arm is heated, kind of thing, that means you are going to attribute this heat into that particular location and that particular place. You fail to see the heat as heat. The moment you try to speak in terms of these elementaries, how difficult for you to explain without attributing to the body. So therefore, our body, we are so far used to develop more and more kilesas, or more and more defilements. When and where you come to the kaya anupassivihirati, you are not giving any label. You just see manifestations and experience. Then and there it is happening with the fresh mind, and you see all that your attribution you have given are falsified. Still you do not know who am I. Till the last moment, to the deathbed, you can change, you can question the spiritual question, who am I? You can tell who is Dalai Lama is, who is George Bush is, who is the Obama is, you know. But sit, close your eyes and ask, who am I? No one answered. Because it's a very dangerous question, inwardly. So the Buddha says, take this body as a representative, see without the preconceived idea, see without any label how it is working. That very radical way of looking at your body is called see the body, contemplate the body on body. Not the other's body, not the yesterday body, not the other place body, here now. And ultimately you find your language is not enough. Your grammar is not enough. Whenever you sit and be aware, just being, try to explain it. How do you experience your mere being? No language can do it. That's the point, you become kaya anupassivihirati. So that is an inner journey, but it's a solid experience. No one can deny it, that you can't put into words. So that is a kind of an inner journey. So therefore this is the way you can put into words, but it's not a complete explanation. It's an invitation for you to inquire into and go deep.
Dear Bhante, my understanding is that most people that one associates with are related to you from past lives. I'm really curious, how can you tell, since they are reborn in as different beings, humans, pets, etc., and different races and colors? Can you give an example of anyone from this hall whom you know previously?
It's a good, I am very lucky. I don't know, I do not want to know. Because tomorrow I am leaving. No one should follow me. Finished. And the Buddha says, Kammang satte vibhajati, yadidang hinang va panitang va. Only the karma is dividing people, good and bad, beautiful and ugly. The karma is the only thing. So you can put into the time series or space series. And time series it is rebirth and kind of thing. Space-wise you have different nations and kind of thing. So this is indicate that things are decided by so much of variables. We can't attribute a single and answer that complicated question. So I am very happy I can't see my past life. I am very happy I am not worrying about what is going to happen tomorrow. I am very happy I do not know no one, even the present life I can't remember your names. I am very happy. Leave aside the past life. So that I can live without any kind of thing. If you are going to have any kind of a connection, then it will be another burden on top of that what is existing. So therefore, these theories or any understanding, don't take it a reason to be frustrated, reason to be make trouble, and take it for your advantage in order to encourage your spiritual life, not otherwise.
Dear Venerable Sir, thank you for the wonderful series of talks, and particularly today's talk was an excellent motivator in enjoying the bliss of freedom, or freedom of bliss. Although most of the time when one is starting to enjoy this kind of freedom, the freedom that you are not as busy as you used to be, and that seems like that one is being selfish, guilt and doubt arises as to whether one needs to involve in some social activities. This involvement means that one is associating with people driven by a different agenda, even in helping, and who are possibly not yogis themselves. Could Bhante please advise how we can best balance our lives being spiritual and somewhat being a serious yogi?
So it's really balances between the wisdom and the compassion. So we human means a social being. We are living in a clusters. So therefore our mutual interpretations, mutual relationships, we have no other choice. So if you wish to see the whole picture, the other alternative is the solitude. So Buddha says, as an alternative, not the whole and full time, develop solitude and see the social life and the solitude life. That is the way you become amphibian. Otherwise you be morning to evening, the whole life will engage in the social life and you do not know who you are. You can be aware and you can be open to yourself when and where you are in solitude, you are in peace of mind, you are in freedom. So that is possible amidst of all these multitasking way. That is the Buddha's teaching. So it is not to keep completely whole life in the solitude or in a meditative mood or kind of thing. It's just an alternative. That is why it's called, it is relativity. The whole theory of Einstein is nothing but relativity. If you know only the social life, that is what you call extreme, one-sided, imbalanced life, without this solitude part. So merely by introducing, you can let the mind to you can let the mind to understand, do you need a balance, or you need the complete solitude, or you need the complete social life. So without giving a chance, whatever the decision you are drawing, influence you are drawing, you have not enough information to the both the sides. So spirituality is to give the other way, the viewpoint from the other end, and then you see that your whole brain is working. Otherwise, only or less than 50% is working. So therefore, it is a radical reflection, a kind of a relative understanding. It's an experiment. It is not a threat, or it is not a challenge to the social life. Definitely, what I can say is, you can lead a very successful social life if you know the solitude, if you know the peace of mind, if you know the freedom. Otherwise, you are in a reaction, you are in escapism. So therefore, it's a challenge. Please try and see.
Dear Venerable Sir, what is your opinion on monastics using technology like computers, iPods, etc.? Do you use such things in your monastery? Many thanks.
So I have, I think, 4 gadgets. I have my notebook and my Galaxy Samsung, and in this trip I got a 7-inch, what do you call the new gadget, and I have my cell phone. I have 2 passports to gather information. So I am completely destroyed or nasty and I am in the wrong end. How hardly you will understand myself as the forest monk. When I was in Burma, I was known computer shadow. So it depends that how much you have information technology, how much you have infrastructure, how much you have the knowledge or whatever. That is not the matter, how you are using it. Do you know the utility value and then leave it aside? Then no problem. Otherwise you become slave to the machines. So I am a kind of a wrong person to ask that kind of a question because I am more towards the gadgets. And I have that weakness. So you may ask someone, if you wish to have a very traditional good answer, select the person before asking the question.
Okay. Dear Bhante, I am writing this to express my deepest gratitude for giving us your precious advice. If it wasn't for your valuable advice, I would have given up my meditation a long time back. May the blessings of the Triple Gem and all these good karmic results bring you to Nibbana soon, if you haven't already achieved it. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
In Sri Lanka, it says Nivan Suva Labeva means that after the death only you put a banner. Nivan Suva Labeva, that means you go hell. So don't use it in common in Sri Lanka. If he says, may you attain Nibbana, that means he has already passed away. I will tell you this way. To have Nibbana, the first and foremost qualification is you must be already passed away. Without that, no Nibbana. So people already pushed beyond this life. So therefore, the Mahasi shadow and the Burmese people are going to say, I don't know, it's a very cheap green called as kangkung. In Sri Lanka, Nibbana is like kangkung. So only thing you have to do, you have to die. Then everyone is in Nibbana. So if you are going to say the person, may you attain Nibbana, that means it's a curse for him. You may damn. So this is the way, traditional way we are using Nibbana. So you also asking me also, please attain Nibbana, may you attain Nibbana. Nibbana means it is something different.
This one was for me, but anyway. You want to say anything or not?
It's a discussion?
Not really, it's kind of a booster, but anyway. Okay, this one is for me. Thank you for presenting all of our questions to Venerable Bhante and facilitating the Q&A sessions in an enjoyable manner. I've noticed you enjoy reading the questions, though you yawn sometimes. After today, we will miss these sessions. Okay, I wanted to say that there is a reason I yawn, which is because I'm tired. I start work maybe after 5 in the morning and start running after about 6 in the morning, and we keep going till 10 plus at night. And so I do get stiff, and I'm sitting here for 2.5 hours sometimes, and I don't move that much, and I get stiffness in my legs, and it comes up as wind element in my body, and I release it as a yawn. And I am also looking at 60 of you guys yawning frequently and moving a lot. And another reason for yawning is you empathize with people, so you yawn when you see other people yawning. So it's an empathy. You know, if you don't yawn, you could be autistic when you see other people yawning. And so I yawn. So there's many reasons for yawning. So I'd like. I am not necessarily bored with the questions, and I've greatly enjoyed the privilege of presenting your questions. They've been very helpful to me, and I'm very grateful for all the support and seeing all of you striving diligently. It's a wonderful sight. So I'll leave the last question to Bhante Breed.
It is unfair that is written in Sinhala. So So the Ramani must answer this question. But I will read the present question. Please give this to Bante to read it at the end of the Q&A. නිවන් දකින්නට පින්මද බව දැන බවුන් වඩන්නට යෝගි වෙසින් සපමිනි අප සැම ඔබ දෙන්වා දුන් මං සලකුණු සහ දැනුමුතුකම් සමගින් පොඩි හාමුදුරුවෝ දෙසු දහම් බැල්ද පොදි බැඳගෙන හෙට දින මින් නික්ම යන්නේ ඔබ වැන්නන් මෙහි විට පහළ වූයේ අපේ පෙර පිනට යයි සිතමිනි ඔබ වහන්සේට දීර්ඝායුෂ පතමු තෙරුවන් සරණයි. So that the person who has written must sing or present it in the tone, because I am not a good singer. So therefore it is a kind of a poet, Nissarana. So in Sri Lanka also that each 10 days time we have the going down party or ultimately winding up. Every time someone have come out with a poem. So I enjoy that, telling that there should have something to our subconscious also, not to the superficial mind. It is very rational. The poems, epithets, examples are to the subconscious. Again we become rejuvenated. So thank you very much for the poem. Is that all? So today we have taken 1 hour and 40 minutes. Anyone do have any other questions or statement or specifically phrasing the talks and every kind of thing? Okay. Then that is for tomorrow. So any other question? That's a task, because that way the translation possible prose but when it is poems, we have to ask that particular person, no, anyone wish to do it for me? Just mere thanking, that's all, in general. But when in the poems it is very aesthetic and the punning of the words and everything is there.
So let me repeat and see if it makes sense to you. So you're asking, what are the kinds of processes or what are the kinds of experiences that are happening through wisdom that are destroying the khandhas, breaking down the process of rebirth in previous lives or in these lives, that are bringing us towards cessation. Is that it? Okay, how can an experience end craving?
So it's a matter of understanding the advantages and the disadvantages of the craving. So first and foremost you have to understand it's one of the proximate cause explaining the whole samsaric journey. So you are paying attention to the craving, and when you are understanding what are the advantages and the disadvantages. Without that, nothing will going to give. It will be just a reshuffling of the same thing. So the understanding of the craving is the main thing, and for that you can't understand all the kind of craving, because it is many multifaceted. So the Buddha is given kind of a easy way, because it is working in the holographic way. Whatever the tiny point you understand, it explains the whole tapestry. So you limit one particular thing and try to see its true nature, and balance through that direct touch. Balance is happening through the deductive knowledge. It sees though, others also like that. So therefore you pinpoint a sizable, digestible little part, and then see. If you look or if you see only in the superficial way, there are many reasons for you to have the desire, the craving. But when and where you see in detail, when and where you see through, you find there is no much of aesthetic part, nothing to have that kind of affection. There is something, but should it be so exaggerated? That is what says, see the flaws, see the disadvantages of the craving. So you've been reduced then onward from craving to the necessity, utility. And if you have to live our life not for the craving but to the necessity or utility, I think our most of the frustration will be reduced.
May I rephrase my question and be very blunt?
Yeah.
So we're talking, let's say, awakening experiences, let's say seeing non-self, and then let's say understanding suffering, there's no craving toward existence, there's no self. But let's say, how could this experience actually fundamentally change, the thought agenda so that it will cease the seven lives, let's say, and that how do you know that, let's say, in the next birth there will be more craving?
No, that is as far as you take the five khandhas as one, or all the agglomeration as one, that is to be as unit, there are a lot of reasons for you to crave. It says, Upanishad Sayadaw says, when you see the new model of the Benz car, BMW, or by the outlook, it's very aerodynamic and nice painting and all the kind of thing. So now you disintegrate the car and ask even a child which part you like. Once you disintegrate it, you see how ugly each and every part is. How much grease. If you touch it, you have to wash your hand. When everything put together, it is called sigma. When everything put together, additional value happens. But when you disintegrate, its value disappears in such a rate. So our craving basically happened due to this agglomeration. So Buddha take the kaya as an agglomeration, and whenever you see agglomerated or male to the female, female to the male, but when it is cut into the for air element, water element and earth element kind, no affection can happen. So the Vibhajyavada, the analytical way, you cut, you dissect the agglomeration into tiny particles, the sum total never give the unit value. So that is happening through analysis, that is what you call vipassana. So therefore, as far as you see superficial value, as far as you see it as a one unit, you have 1,001 reason to be crave, desire. But leave that as one option, cut into as tiny particle as possible, then it's a completely different dimension. You find nothing to be nothing attractive, and your perspective completely change. So the Buddha says, give a balanced approach to anything. This is to say the Newtonian physics and the Einstein physics. Newton talk about a lump, a mass. It has gravity. But when you reduce and go to the energy, no gravity. Different kind of. So only if you know only the mass or lump, Newtonian philosophy is applicable. But when you come to the energy, Einstein energy happens, you can't define this as a thing. You can't define it as a mass. He says E is equal to mc square. This is just energy. Can someone claim this my energy? Can you say the place for energy? Can you see time for energy? Everything lost. So then even if you wish, you can't possess it. You can't have delimited. You can't have as me. So the Buddha gives the whole range. I am giving an example. So therefore, changing the perspective as a lump, as a unit, as a being or individual primary elements, that change is, you can easily explain in terms of craving.
Can I ask another question on the same thing? Now, I thought probably there was a real part of that in the question which is asked already. Now, these kind of realization, understanding, does it happen in a gradual, incremental way, or does it happen all of a sudden in a quantum jump?
You know the straw which is breaking the back of the donkey. When you keep on adding straws on a donkey, it comes to a brim. When you add one more straw, the back will break. So we call that the backbone breaking straw. So particular person only see that when he is putting the last straw, he sees that the whole backbone is broken by one single straw. But it has happened accumulatedly, slowly. So in our literature, we only exaggerate eventful things. We purposefully cut off the general understanding. That is how it become a poet or even the classic book. But the things are not so aesthetic as such. And for example, we say Sinhalese Buddhism. So patriotically, we can say the Sinhalese Buddhism is so proud, they have so much history and kind of thing. Define what is the Sinhalese Buddhism as an individual. You can have a lot of ideas, patriotic ideas, but ultimately it's a concept. So should we develop martyrdom and killing on that kind of thing? And whenever you get together about the Sinhalese, of course, if you are going to talk this kind of thing, you will be kicked off. But see, come to the present moment and see what are the traces of the Sinhalese Buddhism in my individual moment. Nothing. And there it is very easy to understand these are conditioning of the mind because I am born Buddhist. The other person can asking for their Hinduism and Muslim and kind of thing, and we say, no, they are Michadeti. We are the only people and our way is the correct way. And when we get together, it will become very patriotic and nasty. But to reduce into the one thought moment, one place and one individual, what are the intrinsic quality of Sinhalese Buddhism in the present moment? Nothing to crave, but anything. Anyway, how many people have been sacrificed for these nasty ideas? And this is the way it is. It's a kind of a keep on proliferating and gathering the momentum on a wrong notion because we are so depending on the superficial value and we take a whole lump as a one unit. We have no analytical power. So therefore ultimately we are drawing conclusion with the just mere superficial knowledge. So in the understanding, gradual as well as electric, the gradual one heavily appreciated by the Thero tradition. The electric one as a Tori is been highly appreciated by quick enlightenment. This is in the Mahayana specifically the Zen Buddhism. But if you read Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Suzuki, it's a very nice combination. The gradual and the quick enlightenment, and many Western meditators, they are very acquainted with this book. I highly recommend read the Beginner's Mind. Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. It says that where the place you born and much you develop in your background, you are developing a cancer, you are developing a moss, you are developing some fungus, and get trusted. But the Buddha says, never mind, that can be cut through and you can be fresh. So for that gradual thing also you have to appreciate. Quick enlightenment also you have to appreciate. Only thing is analysis. The dissective, analytical is called Vibhajyavada. Separate into as tiny particle as possible. When we are taught in the chemistry, what is the soap, what we are using for washing hands and kind of doing is, when you apply soap, the organic matters disintegrate and it make a slippery layer around each and every tiny particle so they can cut together, cling together, they lose the power. The vipassana is you wrap around thin slicing of time and each and every particle, when there is no agglomeration happen, then there are the sigma value, the sum total value disappears, then shifting of the paradigm takes place.
So can we just understand your question again? It is that when the mind goes out and when the mind comes back, okay, you got the question.
Okay, so first I will define the question. There was a question today. The mind is all of a sudden go to the sleep, and then I am at lost. I ask that particular person, if possible, please give me an answer. Once you become awakened, got up, did you wake up into the primary object, or to the mindfulness, or to wandering? But that particular person never answered. Now the sister is asking, if it is naturally happening to the mindfulness or primary object, what is the significance? If it is awakening into wandering mind, what is the significance? Yeah. So it is not relevant to only to the sleeping mind. Sounds, pain, thoughts, anything can happen. So if the mind is undisciplined and not under control, it jumps from one wandering to the another wandering and keep on going. You can't remember when did you come back to the meditation, and therefore it is a wastage of time. And you have no accounts. Jumping from one to other. But when you keep on practicing, one day you will see it is not jumping one to one. There's a kind of a mechanism. Halfway you come to know something wrong somewhere. And then mind come back, you become self-aware. And this process is what I hope she is raising. And it's very significant, very important. Unless otherwise you can't see that moment, the power of mindfulness never sets in. Because you have to understand, each time it is going out, on relativity theory, it has to come back. We are so concerned about going out and worrying, we have no accounting on the way back. In the Appamada Sutta commentary, it says the coming back happened in two stages. Karapaka Appamada and Karaka Appamada. Karapaka Appamada means I am supposed to be here and focus the attention on in-breath and out-breath. But anyway, now I am thinking back at home. Something like thing clicks. That's called a blink. And immediately mind come back to the primary object. So this blink to know that something wrong somewhere is the first phase. Even if it is blink, it can come to some other wandering thoughts or back to the primary object, yet another part. It says when you are developing, never it go back to the other thing, it definitely come back to your primary object. It is because there's a kind of a blink telling something wrong somewhere. So this early part is an accident. You have no choice unless otherwise you have done 1001 time of experience. And once that is blinked, definitely it come back home. But if you are not shedding your light, shedding your mindfulness on the recovery process, you will ever complain and tell him, my mind is wandering, mind is wandering, mind is wandering. So that one has to ask, okay, it wanders off, fallen into sleep, kind of thing. How is the recovery? How is your awakening into your awareness or self-awareness? This is happening in a universal law. If you can give an account for, that means you are an advanced yogi, that something wrong somewhere, the blink happens. When the blink happens, the mind come back to the primary object. Now, if you accept and understand the thing that I explained, I have a question. First, the blink to say something wrong somewhere. Second, according to the blink, mind come back at home. If these are two different phases, which one is more valuable than the other? What is the most praiseworthy part, that the blink or the mechanical process of coming back to the stream? So it says the blink is the matter. It says, for example, now maybe a newcomer come here, and after the meditation, he thinks, he comes to know, this Raman is organizing dana. People come out of different places, they prepare food and come and offer, I also must do this. One day I also must take a dana and I have to do. So that means he's first even thought about. And according to that, next year, she will go to him and ask and organize and everything, come and give the dana. Out of these two, the first giving a dana in intentional basis as a mind process, and second thing is practical materialistic offering. Out of these two, which one is the most important one? The thought. So you see how easy you to make merits. Otherwise you have to organize ton-loads of food and bring and give, and that is what you can measure. But everything come out of this blink. So the day you appreciate the blink, being here by each thought you think, how much merits for the people, those who are giving dana. What a beautiful mind. It is accumulated so much of merit just like giving a dana. Because you are so wise, you are in the sympathetic joy and you are in the entertaining position and good. Exactly the way, let the mind to wander off, never mind. When it is coming back, see who asked the wandering mind to come back home. Did your father did it? Did the Buddha did it? Did your village temple monk did it for you? Anything? No, your own practice. That is the only thing you gain through your life, but you never appreciate it. You're always complaining about outgoing mind and wandering mind and charu-churu. So you never go to Nibbana. You don't know how to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. Each outgoing means coming back. Forget about outgoing, that is due to the bad nature, but incoming is due to my effort. Incoming is due to my understanding of the mindfulness. Incoming is due to my past mistakes. If I am not appreciating, who the hell is going to appreciate that? So yogis are always negative. Always find reason to be regret. Reason to be frustrated. But each and every bad event has a good part. But our way, the appreciation is more to the bad. So therefore, that you have so much of sympathy for your suffering. You try your best to make next moment suffering. That is of your ignorance. Moment you understand, next moment is 100% fresh, crispy, so nice. Why should you bring the past moments muck everything to the next moment? Instead, be happy with the next moment finished. Then he says, no, we have past karma, we have the last life, we have not perfected our perfections, we have not trihetuka patisandhi. How can the next moment be so fresh? So if it is so, mind your own business, you damn with you. This is a very good way to understand whether you are associating a true person or not. So if you are foolish, you have so much of reason to be brooding that the past mistakes. And so learn Pollyanna, learn the art, try to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. Under such situation, you have already done majority of your task. Just mere appreciation. It make a big leap. Without that, you may calculating how many rupees you have given or dollars you have given and how many to monk and all calculation and all the kind of thing end up with frustration. So I am happy because I wanted to discuss this point, and I would add one thing. Achan Brahm has given one event. He told as a young person before ordination, while he was in the UK, when he got out of the car, he says, without any reason, his father came and told, son, whatever may be the difficulty, whatever may be the unbearable situation, don't hesitate to come back at my home. My door is open all the time for you. So he thought, what is the use of, what is the significance of that statement? This is my father's house. So definitely it's open. Then he understand, if you have the welcoming idea for the returning mind, what a nice thing. So likewise, when the mind wanders off, it may be very ugly, very defiled. But on the way back, if you're going to say, hey, I'm going to punish you for your going out, don't come back at home, there is no chance for the mind to develop. So you have to tell the mind, do anything you like, never mind. Come back home, I am ready to accept you. That is the point, and you have to give the hot water if you need, yes, give hot water, or otherwise cold water. Or you need a cup of water or tea, accept it, and then the outward mind will be very obedient. So it's a simple secret. But if I am going to explain this to a normal people, they will not understand and communicate it. Since you have practiced a lot, since you have fair amount of theoretical understanding, I hope little bit of communication can take place. Don't worry, don't think about complaining. As far as you are complaining, mind is very sour. Don't ask for rights. Forget about, be happy with what is available. Just be a Girl Guide or a Boy Scout. Improvisation, impromptu. Then only the neurobics are working. As far as you are back at your habitat, in your nest, you are so callous. Your mind is fully at rest, never working, but put into the new novelty, put into this thing, and see how it is working. So each and every mishap, each and every wandering mind, each and every fantasizing, is a reality. It's nothing you created. Don't worry, but see how it is coming back. The day you appreciate it, you see what a nice investment I have done. So that is why whenever it scores, come back. Am I correct that am I answering your question? So now we take...
One question regarding what you said. Now you mentioned how easy to make good karma just like this.
Yeah.
It's true to say it's the same easiness to make bad karma as well. So
Yeah, that is right. That you have no agenda, simply. They are happening according to the normal flow. But you are signing the birth certificate. Sorry. But the next moment you have the choice. But this moment you have no choice. Last moment no choice. Next moment if you prepare, that is what you call preparedness, that's only available for the humans, but they think that it's a supreme power. They think there's a kind of a magical formula, or they may suddenly something happen. So everything is escapism. Be ready, be prepared for the next moment is enlightened. So now 2 hours and 10 minutes. Okay.
Can I ask a little question on that last statement? This Mano Kupangama Dhamma, when we say that, does it mean that the initial condition just before the moment is what's going to generate that thought? Is that the idea of that statement?
No, that is the idea of acceleration, the momentum. So that is karmic forces. Dhamma means you can cut completely, immediately and start new trend. Kamma theory and Dhamma theory. Kamma niyama and Dhamma niyama. If you do not know Dhamma, there is no other way, only the karma is working. But if you know Dhamma, you know the plasticity of your mind. You have a hope. Of course you can cut immediately, but you can source little by little, changes can take place. So you are enduring, striving towards the better. So any person can start at any moment. Mind you, that is it's a gift as human we have. But the thing is our education system, our culture, our upbringing, it is so corrupted, so rusty, so conditioning our young children, and they are very happy to understand this kind of thing. Can't tell. Unless otherwise you have a degree, no one consider yourself as a human, as the citizen. So you try your best, the best of your time, the prime time. You have to go for the universities and kind of thing. You get corrupted, and then only you come and talking like big shots. But your whole nature, the crispiness gone. But still the Buddha says, don't lose your heart. The Dhamma is so powerful. The moment you come to know, again you go to the child psychology. You can behave like a newly born baby. That is what the beginner's mind. So Nibbana and the beginner's mind are very close. But people think that you must understand all the Tripitaka, you must understand all the monastic code, you must be perfect in Sila, perfect in Samadhi, perfect in wisdom, and every day thing, then the Nibbana may come. So when everything happens, you are no more a beginner. The Nibbana is very under your very nose, the beginning. So try to forget about all the status and all kind of thing. Just being, understand the present moment, just being, very high potential, high powerful thing. Hope no more questions. Okay, we are going to recite the traditional stanzas. Of course we are blessed and we are happy because of the so much of kind-hearted people, knowing the seen and unseen created this situation so that we can practice. So we must be appreciate their cooperation, and with that idea we are reciting as well as we are sharing our merits, rejoice, asking all the relatives to rejoice, and repetitively reminding our task or straightening our views to say, to see things as they are. With that idea we are reciting the traditional stanzas. Those who know may join and others may listen attentively.